ਤੇਰੇ ਕਵਨ ਕਵਨ ਗੁਣ ਕਹਿ ਕਹਿ ਗਾਵਾ ਤੂੰ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਗੁਣੀ ਨਿਧਾਨਾ ਤੁਮਰੀ ਮਹਿਮਾ ਬਰਨ ਨ ਸਾਕੋ ਤੂੰ ਠਾਕੁਰ ਊਚ ਭਗਵਾਨਾ ਤੁਮਰੀ ਮਹਿਮਾ ਬਰਨ ਨ ਸਾਕੋ ਤੂੰ ਠਾਕੁਰ ਊਚ ਭਗਵਾਨਾ ਹਮਰੀ ਗਣਤ ਨ ਗਣਿਆ ਕਾਈ ਆਪਣਾ ਬਿਰਦ ਪਛਾਣ ਹਾਥ ਦੇ ਰਾਖੇ ਕਰ ਆਪਣੇ ਸਦਾ ਸਦਾ ਰੰਗ ਮਾਣ ਸਾਚਾ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਸਦ ਮਿਹਰਬਾਨ ਬੰਦ ਪਾਇਆ ਮੇਰਾ ਸਤਿਗੁਰ ਪੂਰੈ ਹੋਈ ਸਰਬ ਕਲਿਆਣ ਬੰਦ ਪਾਇਆ ਮੇਰੇ ਸਤਿਗੁਰ ਪੂਰੈ ਹੋਈ ਸਰਬ ਕਲਿਆਣ ਚਾਚਰੀ ਛੰਦ ਤਵੈ ਪ੍ਰਸਾਦ ਗੋਬਿੰਦੇ ਮੁਕੰਦੇ ਉਦਾਰੇ ਅਪਾਰੇ ਹਰਿਯੰ ਕਰਿਯੰ ਨਿਰਨਾਮੇ ਅਕਾਮੇ ਗੋਬਿੰਦੇ ਮੁਕੰਦੇ ਉਦਾਰੇ ਅਪਾਰੇ ਹਰਿਯੰ ਕਰਿਯੰ ਨਿਰਨਾਮੇ ਅਕਾਮੇ ਧੰਨ ਧੰਨ ਸਤਿਗੁਰੂ ਸ੍ਰੀ ਗੁਰੂ ਗ੍ਰੰਥ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਜੀ Maharaj has blessed us with these few moments to talk about and share some thoughts about a Mahan Purb which we are on the verge of celebrating in these next couple of days. The title of today's talk is about Holla Mahalla and why we celebrate Holla Mahalla, the meaning behind this festival or this Purb. Most of us may have some knowledge of Holla Mahalla. A lot of us know that it is usually a time when our Sikh brothers and sisters will practice their physical activities, martial arts, Gatka, Shastra Vidya. Most people have that general knowledge that Holla Mahalla is the day that we kind of focus on this aspect of a Sikh's life. But what Das's cautious was today, my attempts were today to kind of think of things that we haven't really heard about in relation to Holla Mahalla. So I went about doing some codes or some research and I found certain things that I wanted to share with you. Because when we think about Holla Mahalla, we only think of it from a warrior's point of view. We don't think about who might be involved in Holla Mahalla and what actually happened at Holla Mahalla and how it all came about. I'll talk a little bit about the history of what Holi is, because that's what Hindus are celebrating. Holla Mahalla is usually celebrated the days after Holi. In trying to explain some extra bits about Holla Mahalla that we might not have heard before, I'm going to make countless mistakes, so I'm going to ask for forgiveness at the start, and I'm going to ask you guys to help me and bless me with the ability to talk about Holla Mahalla, because without Sangat's help, without Sangat's kind of contribution, a talker can't talk, a speaker can't speak, a bhakta can't speak without Sangat doing kirpa on that person. So if we can focus our minds and just share the word Satnam Sri Vaheguru together before we start. Satnam Sri Vaheguru Sahib Ji, Satnam Sri Vaheguru Sahib Ji, Satnam Sri Vaheguru Sahib Ji, Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. So generally, the history of Holi. Holi, the word Holi actually comes from a lady whose name was Holika. Originally, the festival takes place in the middle of Fagun, the Desi month of Fagun, which is around now. Originally, it was a festival to celebrate good harvests, to ask for good harvest, because Vaisakhi is the time when kind of Vadi Andiya towards Vaisakhi is more that kind of time when harvest was celebrated, but this was in leading up to that time. Holika was the sister of Harnakash. When we read Sri Rehra Sahib the part, usually Darbar Sahib Kirtani and Singhs will recite the words Har Jog Jog Bhagat Upaya Paj Rakhda Aya Ram Raje Haranakas Dust Har Marya Prahlad Traya. That Hankari, that egotistical Harnakas, was the father of Bhagat Prahlad Ji, who is a little child who remembered Vaheguru with every single breath in their body. I sometimes think about that. How can a child have that mentality from a young age where they recite the name of God instantly? Even in Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj's time, Satguru Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj used to rise very early at a very young age. When you look at Guru Harkrishan Ji Maharaj, when you look at other children in our Sikh Itihas, or the Guru Sahibs when they were children, they always had these angelic qualities beforehand. They didn't have to put effort towards it, it was already earned for them. But Bhagat Prahlad Ji, his mother heard the whole Katha of Vaheguru, how the universe is created, what happened in the universe, who looks after it, heard the whole Katha whilst he was in the stomach, whilst his mother was expecting him. So when he was born, he immediately had that pull towards reciting the name of God. It's a long story, but just for our purposes, we're just going to say that Bhagat Prahlad Ji worshipping Vaheguru had an effect on Harnakas, because Harnakas didn't want him to do that. He didn't want him to remember Vaheguru. Although this is a Hindu festival, Satguru Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj's Bani talks to us about this. Even in our Nitnem we have it. That Bhagat Prahlad Ji, who wanted to remember Vaheguru, who was a sant from a young age, this Bhagat Prahlad Ji was being prevented to think about Vaheguru by his own father. And these things happen today as well. Most of the time parents will say, why don't my kid turn to Gursikhi? Why doesn't he jap naam or Vaheguru or do bhakti? And they usually lay the blame on the kids. But there's also kids who want to come into Sikhi, but the parents don't want it. We know that we're in the situation, we live in those kind of situations where these things occur. But here, let's just suffice to say that when you recite the name of God, then every problem is solved. There is nothing that Maharaj's Parmeshwar da Naam cannot solve. But Bhagat Prahlad Ji, he didn't give up his ability to remember God at all times. Whether he was being educated in front of his teachers, he would made all the other children recite the name of God. Or whether he was told to hold on to hot pillars by his own father, so his father was trying to kill him. And one of the attempts on his life was this, where he told his sister Holika, who had the ability to basically control fire, she was immune to it as such. She could make herself be on fire or be in the midst of fire but not be affected by it. You might have seen people walk through coal. You might have seen people adapt themselves. Even if you look at nature in itself, it adapts itself according to its conditions. There's these very small ants, very small kidiyan that live in the Sahara desert. And they feed off things in the desert, but at a time when it's so hot that nothing else will be seen outside, but the ants are out there. They've got such small bodies that they wade across the sand. They're flexible in such a way, Parmeshwar Vaheguru has given them such qualities that they swiftly run across the sand, gobble their food up, and then return back into their little holes to get cool again. Then after a few seconds, when they've cooled down, they'll go out again and they'll wade across the sand. And they wade across the sand in such a way that their body isn't affected. And they time it to perfection. But that's just talking about ants. These are people who probably did jap tap, probably did Simran on the basis that I'm not going to get affected by fire. Okay. Maharaj says in Bani, Chandan Chandana Sard Rut, Mool na mitei kaam, Seetal thive nanka japandro har naam. There are certain things in this world that maintain their garmi, or there are certain things in this world that maintain their thand. Like, for example, in India, the wood chandan is considered to be thanda. Usually when you're frying stuff or when you're cooking stuff, you put something onto water or you put something onto tail. Sometimes food will calm it down, sometimes the food will go ballistic. That ballistic will make you understand if the food makes some sort of reaction, or garam hundi odi taseer, it's usually hot. And if it's thanda, it cools it down. Maharaj says, Chandan Chandana Sard Rut. Chandan is considered to be a wood that cools people down. People make pastes out of it. They grind it down and make paste out of it and apply it onto their skin. Unna thandak mehsoos hundi hai, then you feel cooled down by it. Certain like natural kind of remedies have that effect on our body. They make you cool down. Like menthol. When you try to put Vicks or menthol on your body, it cools it down. Chandan, the wood, has that effect. But when you look at the chandan tree, and you look at it at night and look at the branches, you'll find snakes that are coiled around the tree. And those snakes are the most poisonous snakes, and their poison doesn't get eradicated. Chandan, Chand, the moon is supposed to give thandak at night. And Gurbani and Gyanwan people say that the rays of the moon, when they fly down on a tree, they are what make a fruit sweet. So when a fruit is going to be ripe, it's the rays of the moon that put that sweetness into it. And it's if you go to Punjab even today, you'll find people who farm in the morning, really early in the morning, with the light of the moon, because it's cool. And not only because it's cool, but because it gives you thand. But us Chandani Raat vich, there's arguments happening. There's people who murder people at night. There's people who've got garmi in their sareer. You need to walk further down to High Street and see ki hal hunda hai. People are arguing with each other. Oh, garmaish nahi jandi. That garmi inside doesn't disappear. The moon hasn't got that capability of destroying that garmi. Sardarut. Today, when we drove into Birmingham, it's pretty cold. There's snow still on the sides. But this thandak, does it stop people hitting each other or arguing? Or Miyan Bibi di ladai hui jandi hai, bra na ladda hai in the daytime? Does it stop that garmesh? It doesn't. It's just weather. It doesn't have an effect on us. It can't give us thand in our hearts and our hirde. Maharaj said, Chandan Chandana Sard Rut, Sardi di Rut jidi ya, it can't take that garmesh away from inside of us, that garmi, jidi garmi si kha lende kevri jandi nahi, dur nahi hundi. So how do we become cool then? Jait Sri ki war Maharaj says, Seetal thive nanka japandro har naam. Only the name of Vaheguru can cool you down. Only the name of Vaheguru can bring peace to your heart. Only the name of Vaheguru can destroy ailments in families. Only the name of Vaheguru can make people feel united. This lady, Holika, was using the name of God as such to give herself a quality to make herself feel cool in the midst of heat. In our Itihas, some people will question this, how can that happen? But in our Itihas, Baba Bidhi Chand Ji sat in an oven and remembered the name of Akal Purkh Vaheguru, remembered Guru Arjan Dev Ji Maharaj, and he wasn't touched. Bhai Dayala Ji used to recite Vaheguru Gurmantar Simran, sitting in an Ubaldi Day. Guru Arjan Dev Ji Maharaj, Sache Pasha, the king of Shaheeds, Shaheedan de Sartaj, They were made 5 days of torture. They were sitting on a tatti tavi, they were boiled in a massive cauldron. They were made to stand in the middle of like the summer months on hot sand, had hot sand poured on their head, on their seas, but they weren't affected because the name of Vaheguru was making that happen for them. So Holika had done some jap tap and obtained this gun of not being burnt by ag or fire. So the plan was that Harnakas told his sister to grab her nephew basically and make him sit with her and then make fire come, and therefore Bhakt Prahlad Ji would die. But us to ulta hoya, because when Vaheguru wishes for something to happen, then he will make that happen. He preserved the honor of his saints. Her jap tap was focused on hankar, on ego, and getting a quality for herself which wasn't going to help her unite with God. Bhakt Prahlad Ji's focus was the love of God, Prema Bhakti. Whenever somebody recites the name of God for their own swarat, and whenever somebody recites the name of God without any thought or any expectation of reward, it's that person who will get the kirpa more than anything else. They'll get what they wanted in their minds, but the name of God will be always highest for that person. The rewards will always be highest for that person who has no expectation of reward. Bhakt Prahlad Ji sat in that fire, he remembered Parameshwar Vaheguru, and Holika was brought in flames. The light of the flames, the color of the flames, people used as the color that people throw on other people in Holi. Even today, there's people who commemorate this day on Holi, which is today, by doing large bonfires. Over time, that holy kind of thought got disrupted, it got messed up. It took on a more corrupt form, if you want to put it that way. We'll come back to that in a second. Satguru Guru Arjan Dev Ji Maharaj talks about Holi in Basant Rag. Basant is the rut that we are in now, blossoming, springtime, the beginning of springtime. Basant Mahalla Panjwa, Satguru Guru Arjan Dev Ji Maharaj says in Kar Pehla Do Tuke. Do Tuka means 2 lines per verse, or you can see there's 2 lines. There's 2 quotes per line. Ek Oankar Satgur Prasad, one Akal Purkh Vaheguru, the creator, sustainer, destroyer Akal Purkh Vaheguru, who with his power, with his kar, with his energy, is in everything and everyone. Satgur Prasad, he never goes nas. Parameshwar Vaheguru is always here and is realized by the grace of Satguru Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj. Maharaj talks about how we should celebrate Holi. ਗੁਰਸਿੱਖਾਂ ਨੇ ਆ ਕੇ ਬੇਨਤੀ ਕੀਤੀ ਸੀ, ਮਹਾਰਾਜ ਜੀ ਆਪ ਜੀ ਦੇ ਹੋਲੀ ਬਾਰੇ ਕੀ ਖਿਆਲ ਆ? ਬਸੰਤ ਦੀ ਰੁੱਤ ਆਪ ਜੀ ਕਿਰਪਾ ਕਰੋ ਦੱਸੋ. Can you explain to us what you think about Holi and what we should be doing? And Maharaj, Satguru Guru Arjan Dev Ji Maharaj, who at that time was completing Sri Harmandir Sahib. The Sarovar had been completed by Guru Arjan Dev Ji Maharaj's father, Guru Ramdas Ji Maharaj, and the rest of the Harmandir Sahib, the Har Ki body, which is completed by Guru Arjan Dev Ji Maharaj. Maharaj says, Gur Sevo Kar Namaskar, Aaj Hamare Mangal Char. Maharaj says that if you are in such khushi, ki aaj Mangal Karna, see, we're going to rejoice today, we're going to remember Vaheguru. Gur Sevo Kar Namaskar. Guru di seva karo, namaskar karke. Parameshwar di seva karo, Guru di seva karo. Guru Ramdas Ji Maharaj Sant Swaroop di seva karo. Guru Arjan Dev Ji Maharaj keh rahe ne. Aaj hamare maha anand. Today in our homes, in our home here, in our heart, and in our material homes, bahut anand hai. Chint lathi pete gobind. By giving our time to our Guru, pete means kisi nu dena, dekhna vi hunda pete. Kisi pete, we see something with our eyes, that's also pete as well. But this pete is talking about when we given something, given our time to our Guru, chint lathi, sari sadi chint lath jandiya. our anxieties and stresses are taken away by serving Guru Ji. आज हमारे बने फाग प्रभ संगी मिल खेलन लाग. In the Sat Sangat, by seeing other Gursikhs, Naam Japan wali Ruha, this Mahina, this time, this Sama has become auspicious. Holi kini Sant Sev. Rang laga at lal dev. Maharaj says, by serving the saint Guru Ramdas Ji Maharaj's Sthan, Sri Harmandir Sahib, Holi ਕੀਤੀ ਅਸੀਂ, ਹੋਲੀ ਮਨਾਈ ਆ. ਇਹ ਅਸਲ ਹੋਲੀ ਆ ਕਿ ਅਸੀਂ ਕਾਰ ਸੇਵਾ ਗੁਰੂ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਦੀ, ਗੁਰੂ ਘਰਾਂ ਦੀ ਸੇਵਾ ਕਰੀਏ. That's the true holy. Guru Arjan Dev Ji Maharaj's time. Rang laga at lal dev. And what will happen as a result? Parmeshwar di Brahm Gyani, Brahm Gyan Rupi Rang laguga. You will get the color of Parmeshwar's Gyan, his knowledge. Man tan molyo at anup, my body, my mind is immersed into the beautiful Vaheguru Akal Purkh Vaheguru's name. Sukha nahi chav tu. There's many arth, many meanings of that line. But if you put it this way, if you imagine yourself to be a dead wood and you found yourself in the sagandhi, in the essence or the incense or the smell, the scent of a sandalwood tree, after some time, the essence of that smell will come over to you and you wouldn't be able to tell whether you are a dead tree or not because the smell has disguised it. People think, "Eh chandan ya, palekha pe juga bande nu, chandan hona." Similarly, Guru Sahib Sangat is like that. When you come to Guru Ji Sangat, oh rang lag janda hai, Maharaj fir kirpa kar dande. I don't know if you ever mahsoos this, but once time, if you haven't ever felt this, if you for some reason have been at home and some of your family have gone to Guru Kar and they've sat through the whole Sangat or they've gone and done Seva, you ever mahsoos when they come back how you feel after doing their darshan? You'll feel a ton from them. You'll feel anand from them. Guru Sahib de darshan karke aaya. Kudrati cheez hundi a. Sagli ruti harya hoye. And not only do I blossom in just springtime, Maharaj says, but with the rang of Akal Purkh Vaheguru, with the knowledge that Vaheguru gives us, and with the name of Vaheguru, by doing his seva, every season has blossomed. So whether it's springtime, even though we're in Basant Rut, it's snowing outside, it's winter months outside, but even in this kind of weather, you'll be blossoming with the name of Vaheguru. Sad Basant Guru Mile Dev. You are always in springtime, always blossoming when you meet your Guru. Every time you meet a Guru, you will always blossom forth. Holi kini sant sev, rang laga at lal dev. This Shabd is in Basant Rag. Maharaj is explaining to us the Guru di seva naal, Santa Mahapurkhan di sevavan karan naal, you will get that kirpa, you will get that rang of Akal Purkh Vaheguru. So I was thinking about the car seva because Mahapur Sant Gurbachan Singh Ji Khalsa Pindar Wale, when they have done the Katha, they have seen this with their own eyes. And when they explained the arth of that Shabd, they began talking about the Kar Seva of Sri Darbar Sahib in 1923. The Kar Seva of Darbar Sahib, when they take the water out, they take the jal out, the amrit out, they bank it against sandbags on the side, so they've still got some pani there. And then they take the earth out from the bottom and clean the whole tank, they clean the whole sarovar. It was said that Mahapurkh said that on that day, during those days of the Kars of 1923, 300 kilos of loon was used in the langar. That's how much sangat had come. 300 kilo thoda hunda. We put about dal ch ek chamcha, do chamche paane hunde ha. Possibly more than that. At that time, 300 kilo of salt was used. 8 man. 1 man is roughly 37 kilos. So nearly 300 kilos of salt was used at that time. Mahapurkh Baba Shyam Singh Ji, who all their life did kirtan in Darbar Sahib with that instrument, the saroda that Bhai Sahib Ji used to use, Mahapurkh used to use. Baba Shyam Singh Ji is the person who, in his history, if there was a little child and he basically, on the Darbar Sahib Parkarma, he did latrine or he went for number twos. And everyone started kind of scolding his mother and his parents and said, why has he done that? Galti. And Baba Sham Singh Ji had so much nimarta prem, he used to do kirtan Darbar Sahib, bahut uchi surnal. He went to himself, didn't say anything to anyone, picked it up with his own hands like this and just moved it to the side. He goes, "Ita seva mahan seva." At that time, Mahapurakh Baba Gurbachan Singh Ji said, Baba Sham Singh Ji couldn't walk. His legs had kind of given up on him. But he wanted to partake in the seva, so he got on the back of another Gursikh and he did the seva of Darbar Sahib like that. Inna cha siga seva karanda. Maharaja Bhupinder Singh of Patiala at that time also took part in the seva. His elders, I don't know if you know this already, but there's two main states in Punjab. There's many states, but these two states in particular, the state of Nabha and Patiala, their descendants, when you look back at them, were two children who had nothing. Their uncle, Bhai Kalu Ji, took the two kids with him to Guru Har Rai Ji Maharaj. Guru Har Rai Ji Maharaj samne khad ke, the little kids picked up their chagge and they start playing their stomachs. And Guru Har Rai Ji smiled and said, "Ye ki kar rahe bacche? What are they doing?" And Bhai Kalu Ji, who was their Mama Ji, said, "Maharaj, I've taken these kids in God, but really they're your kids. Inna ko kuch nahi hai. They haven't got anything to eat. Their parents passed away. They've got nothing. Gareeb hai bahut. Inna nu roti khan nu mildi nahi. Aap ji kirpa karo." Satguru Guru Har Rai Ji Maharaj blessed them with the Raj. Their descendants, one lineage became the lineage of Nabha. Mahan Kosh is written by Bhai Khan Singh Nabha, who was from that state. Maharaja Bhupinder Singh Ji Patiale Wale, who did a lot of seva of Mahapurakh Sant Atta Singh Ji Mastuane Wale, another great Mahapurukhs at that time. He even came here to play cricket to England. Maharaja Bhupinder Singh also did seva with his own hands of Darbar Sahib at that time. There's a picture of that seva, 1923. Sometimes you think like Guru Sahib Sangat must have not been that much at that time. But when you see photos like that, it makes you think. If you look very closely at some of the Singhs, you'll see that some of them have got gatre on very closely. This photo might not be that clear, but there's another version of it where you actually can make out wearing gatre, karpana, dastar, and everyone has got a dastar on their head virtually. This bit here on the side, as you're going down, is Har Ki Pauri, just on the side here. There's so many stories about Har Ki Pauri. That shabd which was the first shabd, the very first Hukamnama of Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj, Suhi Mahalla Panjwa, Santa ke Karaj Aap Khloya, Har Karm Karavan Aya Ram. At that time, Guru Arjan Dev Ji Maharaj ithe seva kar rahe si Har Ki Pauri di. And from the other side, a very Pratapi individual, like massive Pratap on his head, like people couldn't even look at him, came with hundreds of sevaks and they all came to do seva, libde hoye, chikkad vich, they were all like had, nishani of doing seva, if you want to put it that way. Rang lagya hoya si. We think it's mud, but unhanu rang lagya hoya si. And what happened is, when the sevaks went and told Guru Arjan Dev Ji ki Maharaj ek bahut Pratapi Purush aa rahe ne, aap go and meet them because their aura is amazing. Guru Arjan Dev Ji left everything and he ran towards the Prakarma, and when both of them met, there was a massive prakash from both of them. Idan gal vakri vich mile. Bahut badda prakash hoya. After the prakash, everything just kind of returned to normal. And then afterwards, Guru Arjan Dev Ji Maharaj was asked, who was that? And Satguru Guru Arjan Dev Ji Maharaj replied, Santa ke karaj aap khloya, har kam karavan aya ram. Parmeshwar Vaheguru Akal Purkh Vaheguru. Although they were the same roop, to detach himself out of that humbleness, humility, Guru Arjan Dev Ji said, Vaheguru himself came to do seva of that asthan. That's why it's called Har Ki Pauri, Parmeshwar di Pauri, the ladder of Vaheguru. Utho jal haje vi shakde ne, sangta shakdiyan. There's a little party on the side here. When you go there, there's a little wood plank there, and you take water from it even today at Darbar Sahib. That's not that long ago. How much Sangat there was. Unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to be there at that time. But some of us might have. I don't know if anyone here had that chance to do that seva. But that is Holi Kini Sant Seva, because 1923 Kar Seva was around that time, around the time of Holi. Kinni Sangat ne Seva Kiti. And you look very closely at them, everyone's coloured. Guru Sahib di Seva Karde of their Sthan. So that was Guru Arjan Dev Ji Maharaj's time. Fast forward into Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj's time. So we've got the spiritual side of it, Seva Karni, Simran Karna, Bani Parni, Sangtan di Seva Karniya, Guru de Sthan di Seva Karni, bahut zaruri hundi hai. At the time of Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj, in Itihas, Guru Pratap Suraj Granth, I was saying to you that sometimes we only see Holla Mahalla from one angle, but when you go to Anandpur Sahib and Holla Mahalla, you come across Kavi Darwars, you come across all sorts of people, all different shapes and sizes. And I thought, why not share something with you about Kavi Bhai Nand Lal Singh Ji, because I was looking, I was thinking, is there anything about, in Kavita form that we can write about? So I looked at Guru Pratap Surya Prakash Granth by Paisa Pai Santokh Singh Ji, and luckily we found something around some poetry, something that somebody had written at that time, eyewitness accounts, because Baba Nand Lal Ji, Bhai Nand Lal Singh Ji we kende hai, because they took Amrit. They were the most important poet. They had the most kirpa of Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj. Their writings are amazing, written in Farsi, most of it. And they also wrote Raitname as well. There's a Raitnama written by Bhai Nand Lal Singh Ji. But that time, when you look at the Itihas, Vaisakhi happens, the Pan Singh's heads are taken away, and then after that time, a year later in the springtime, so nearly 9-10 months afterwards, 1700, 1701 we're looking at, 1700 probably, Guru Sahib, I don't know if you heard the story about when the Masands, the people used to collect money for Guru Sahib, they had gone corrupt. Somebody had come to show a play to the Singhs, and in this play, which was about what was going on at that time, it depicted the Masands and what they were doing. They were drinking alcohol, they were taking people's money from them on the name of Guru Sahib, taking the money, these Masands, and they were spending it on their own vices. Istriyan nu nachande si, they were going to prostitution, they were drinking alcohol, they were doing everything that wasn't Gurmat. When Guruji saw that play, he said, is this what Masands are doing at this moment? Inanu dand dena fir. So Vaisakhi happened, and then the dand began. And just between those instances is Holla Mahalla. So Maharaj ne tayari kiti. The few months and the year after this, you'll see Gursikh after Gursikh, Masand after Masand being picked up by Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj and the real Singhs and the real Sevaks. And they were battered. Maharaj sent Hukumname to everyone and said, don't trust these Masands. Je Peta Lianiya, he wrote the names of the Sikhs that you should give the Peta to, or Aap Yathashakt Liao. And Holla Mahalla was one of those days that the Sangat themselves actually bought the Maya. They actually stopped trusting these Masands and gave to Guru Sahib. They weren't all bad Masands. There were still people who did seva of Guru Sahib. I'm just putting the context of when this was all going on. Just at that time, some Sangat came to Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj and said, Maharaj, meleyan vich istriyan gwaach giyan. Women are disappearing. Holi karde hai Hindu, par uthe the women are disappearing. I.e., they were being kidnapped. So, although Holi, the festival, was for a good reason, Bhakt Prahlad di rakhya hoi si, Bani states, that Maharaj ne rakhya kiti, Parmeshwar ne rakhya kiti Bhakt Prahlad ji di. Over time, it kind of degenerated into Timiyanu Sherna, Ma, Shrab, Adak, Ganja, Top, Jo Marji Chalda, Sab Kuch Chalda si, and it had become a corrupt practice. And because of that corrupt practice, when the Gursikhs came to Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj and told them what was going on, Maharaj said, we need to resolve this and create it for the right reasons. We need to celebrate Hola for another reason. We need to celebrate it for righteousness, to make people feel proud about righteousness, to stand up for sachai. Over time, the sad thing is even that's happened, that's degenerated now as well. There's aspects of Hola Mahalla today that have degenerated. When you go to Anandpur Sahib now, you'll see people on nashe, and they come to Anandpur Sahib to do mashkariyan, to do gandagi, and nothing else but gandagi. Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj da shabd si, Pao tera bhang khaldi mera cheet, meh diwana paya teet. Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj is offered ganja, was offered cannabis by Akbar. And Maharaj says, you crazy? Pao tera bhang, jira tera bhang hai na, ye tu hi rakh, my bhang, my cannabis is the fear of God. 2 women disappeared, and what happened? Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj explained to the Sangat, ki ye bhali reet nahi. This isn't a good thing. It needs to be celebrated for the right reason. And if you look at India today, I was just thinking, putting it into further context, although we're celebrating Holla Mahalla on one side, you hear reports coming out of India where women are being raped in broad daylight, in cars. Just yesterday, in a car in Amritsar, another lady has been raped. Report after report after report. There's a woman who jumped 2 stories. I don't know, you've probably seen it in the news. Jumped 2 stories from the balcony to escape from a guy. Inna ko karm ho raha hai ji. But it was at that time as well. We still live in that time. It's still there. But just as Khalsa was there, who was conscious and aware and stopping these things from happening, even they are awake today as well. So in preparation of Hola, what happened? So this is tomorrow's day. Guruji today called a treasurer Sikh, Khazanchi Sikh nu bulaya, kehndi tiyari karo si Hola tiyari karni hai. Color was prepared from flowers, red, gulal, saffron, ambir, perfumes of red, green, blue, and they were perfumed. Like for example, jira kesar hundaya, the saffron flower, they used to grind it down, the color would come out of it, and then ude ch khushboo bharde si. Sangat came from afar, so Guruji had sent messages to everyone. Langar was everywhere at Anandpur Sahib. Kirtan sare paase sun raha, so there was rababis doing kirtan everywhere. In Guruji's darbar itself, nagare were playing. Sikh Sangta are bringing Nishan Sahibs, and they're carrying these farfare as well. Nishan Sahibs are the Nishan Sahibs that we know about. Jede farare hunde, they are, if you imagine a pack of cards and you see the ace of spades, that shape of the spade is what farare are. Nang Singhs carry them with them. You might have seen them when they come through a procession. So farare bhi chalde sige. Everyone is doing namaskara to Maharaj Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj, matha tek rahe ne Maharaj de charna ch. Guruji is dressed in colourful clothes, and Guruji comes out of the darbar and moves towards Satluj Darya. Guruji has colour in his hands and he's throwing over Gursikhs. Whoever Guruji throws his colour over, his nadar, whoever Guru Sahib looks upon, the pyar nal hodi hola khedde a, they are embellished with Naam, Bani and Brahm Gyan, just like that. Inniya khushiyan Maharaj bakhshde ne. So jithe Maharaj, jithe there was people going to these kind of mele and festivals to doing silly things, like stressing out women and sharaba piniya, maas khane. Guru Sahib created Hola Mahalla in an entirely different context. A, to encourage B Ras, and B, well, that was B, but A was to do kirpa on the Sangat, to give darshan to the Sangat. And wherever Guru Sahib goes, aaj hamare Mangalchar, wherever Guru Sahib is, the people with Guru Sahib in their hearts, they were always in khushiyan, always rejoicing. Bhai Nand Lal Singh Ji was standing beside Guruji at this time. This is in Atahas. So this description is written by Santokh Singh Ji about Hola, what happened. Bhai Nand Lal Ji then writes these beautiful lines, because he goes to the Satluj river with Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj. He had just come into the court of Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj. Maharaj had seen his knowledge, and Maharaj was going to do kirpa on him as well. Bhai Nand Lal Ji then describes Hola. This is the eyes of Bhai Nand Lal Ji. Holi. Gule holi babage deher e bish guft. Labe chun gucheh ra furkhund hai khu kard. Gulabo ambro mushko abiro chun bara barshe az sub su kard. Gulal afshaniye daste mubarak zamino asma ra surkhru kard. Bhai Nand Lal Ji writes, the flower of Holi has blossomed in Guruji's orchard. Everyone has smiles upon their lips. Everyone's khush. You go to Holla Mahalla now, ਸਿੰਘਾਂ ਤੇ ਖੁਸ਼ੀ ਬਹੁਤ ਆ, ਬਾਣੀ ਪੜ੍ਹੀ ਗਈ ਆ, ਅਖੰਡ ਪਾਠ ਹੋ ਰਹੇ ਨੇ, ਸੰਗਤਾਂ ਸੇਵਾ ਕਰਦੀਆਂ ਆ. Rose, red, blue, violet, saffron and green can be seen raining upon everyone. I see that as, although the color that Bhai Nand Lal Ji is explaining, that Guru Sahib was raining this upon the Sangat, but Guruji was also doing kirpa of gyan on everyone in different ways as well. ਕਿਸੇ ਨੂੰ ਨਾਮ ਦੀ ਖੁਮਾਰੀ ਚੜ੍ਹ ਜਾਂਦੀ ਆ, ਕਿਸੇ ਨੂੰ ਸੇਵਾ ਦੀ ਖੁਮਾਰੀ ਚੜ੍ਹਦੀ ਆ, ਕਿਸੇ ਨੂੰ ਬੀਰ ਰਸ ਆ ਰਿਹਾ ਕਿ ਮੈਂ ਸੂਰਮਾ ਬਣਾ, ਕਿਸੇ ਨੂੰ ਕਵਿਤਾ ਫੁਰਦੀ ਆ ਗ੍ਰੀਨ, ਕਿਸੇ ਨੂੰ ਕਵਿਤਾ ਆ ਰਹੀ ਆ ਮਨ ਚ ਮੈਂ ਹਰਿਆਵਲਤਾ ਦੱਸਾਂ ਕਿ ਕੀ ਹੋ ਰਿਹਾ. So everyone's getting affected by this scene. Bhai Nand Lal Ji says, as the color flies in the air, it lands on the ground, and the earth is a quagmire of colors and the sky is dark. Not dark because it's getting dark, but dark because there's so much color, so much kirpa, so much mitti ud rahi hai sangtan di khushiyan naal. It's a massive scene, and Guru Sahib is going with all the things towards the edge of the river Satluj. Guruji has thrown worldly and spiritual color on me. Bhai Nand Lal Ji says, Kirpa kiti, not on me, but on everyone, on the Sangat. Guruji is holding a pishkari, he's holding saffron in his hands, rang in his hands. Blessed are his hands and blessed is the color he holds. Look at that description of Maharaj. Bhai Nand Lal Ji was so deep in his thinking of Maharaj, he saw Maharaj in a different view than anyone else saw him. There's so many stories of Bhai Nand Lal Ji. There's another story where he stands in a corner where Bhai Nand Lal Ji is asked, why are you standing there? And he sees that because he's copying a dog. And Maharaj would throw a roti to the dog, and he's saying, and the next day Bhai Nand Lal Ji is standing in that position. He said, I want that for Maharaj. And he talks about it as well in his Farsi, in his descriptions. It says that after that, Bhai Nand Lal Ji, when he recited that verse, Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj came up to him, and Maharaj ne rang leke put it on his matha and rubbed it across Bhai Nand Lal Ji's face. And Bhai Nand Lal Ji, when he felt that, mastane ho gaye, sara kuch visar gaya, he didn't know where he was, what he was doing. He got into so much bliss that he says these words, and he says, Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj is so great that by throwing color in this world, he's also colored the next world as well for me. And he said, that's after we die. So after my soul dies, Bhai Nand Lal Ji says that he's colored the next world as well. Then Bhai Nand Lal Ji goes on to say, I'm a sacrifice to the Sangat. I'm the dust of the feet of the Sangat, because in every single heart today, Basant Rut is growing in them. They're blossoming with the color of Parmeshwar Vaheguru just by seeing Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj. And when Guru Gobind Singh Ji heard those lines, bahut khush hoye, khushi naal mal ke unan de mathe te kirpa karke they blessed him all the gyan, and he said to him, Aj you are Nandalal Goya sade darbari kavishar kavi. Maharaj blessed him. He goes, you're the main kavi now of our court, by giving that kirpa. Usually celebrated over 2 or 3 days. Hola pehli dil te mahalla. Mahalla ki hunda? Mahalla is when a force walks from one side of a gurdwara, one gurdwara to another gurdwara in a Nagar Kirtan Swaroop. So this is now the Bir Rasi side coming out. The first mahalla was held in 1700. It shall involve practicing how to fight and battle strategy. Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj went to the edge of Satluj. There's a Gurdwara Sahib there now called Gurdwara Holgarh Sahib. Just a few 100 meters or so from Anandpur Sahib. When you come across the bus stand, you take a right, and it's across the bus stand, past the railway line, and Holgarh is just not far at all. And at Holgarh Sahib, Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj himself would take part, split 2 teams up. One side would attack the fort, another would defend it. And after all these Gursikhs have defeated each other or won, Siruppas would be given out to the winning Jathedars. So Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj, not only was he giving kirpa of lal rang tisko laga, tiske vadbhaga, those fortunate ones are getting the colour of name of Vaheguru, they've been dyed in it through Brahma Gyan and through Naam Simran and Bani. But at the same time, Maharaj is giving Beer Ras as well to the Sangat. Tiyari karde. So the Singhs at that time, tiyar bar tiyar hoke, Shastrana and Saje Taje, everyone is, the Nagari are playing, the Rana Singhe are playing, Singhs are doing Shastra Vidya, koi kode chala reha, Neja Baji dikha reha, some they're getting spears and they're breaking the kille on the floor and carrying them on, loads of feats, amazing physical feats, somebody is doing wrestling, all sorts of physical activities are going on like they are today. And today, Sikhs still assembled there in Anandpur Sahib as a remembrance of that Holla Mahalla, that instruction of Holla Mahalla. So Holla Mahalla is very unique because on one side it blesses kirpa, blesses spiritual knowledge. Guru Sahib does kirpa on his Singhs and his Singhne, his Sangta. And at the other time, he also blesses with the ability to be Bir Rasi, to focus on the physical aspects of it. And those people who were trained at that time, they went on and fought battles with Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj. And not only that, they sorted out the Gandgi within themselves first. They took away those masans. They gave him dand. There was other khushiyan going on as well. If you ever heard of in Itihas Bhai Sutra Ji, Bhai Sutra Ji was the one Gursikh who could make Guruji laugh so much and make him smile so much. He used to do very unique things. All the Nahang Singh Fauja sare ne bane thare hoye, shastra paye hoye ne. And what happened is Bhai Sutra Ji went into the langar, jiri kalak hundi hai tawe te, the blackness on the tawa where you make rotiyan, he grabbed it and he put it all on his matha, kali dastar pali, put kala bana on, kala chola on, muh te sari kalak lali, hathan te kalak lali, he blackened himself. And he went with the Sangha to Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj. When Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj was back in the Divan, Katha ke Vishar ho rahe, after the Holla Mahalla has taken place, after the procession has taken place, the Beer Ras has been over, Kirtan and Katha is going on in the evening. And Bhai Sutra Ji, with all the Sangat sitting there, Bhai Sutra comes in, matha takes, and then he comes and he walks around the whole Sangat, looking at the Sangat, look at me. Mainu dekho, main kala chola pehriya hoya, am kala, main kala kinna hai, look at me. And at the same time, he's got so much sharda, 2-3 vari parkarma karda, sari Sangati. So people thinking, ki karda Sutra, look at him, look. He's a comedy, he's a comedian. But at the same time, he had so much knowledge about what true Gursikhi was. Guru Sahib di prakarma vi kar rahe ne, te sari sangat di prem naal sangat karde ne. Then he comes and stands before Guruji. And Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj laughed and he said, Ki kar rahe ho? What are you doing? And Bhai Sutra Ji put his hand together and he said, Maharaj Ji, he was just shota bacha, when a little kid, small, his mother puts a little kali bindi in his matha. Ki mere pot nu nazar na lag jave. Then he goes, if somebody buys a house, Maharaj, utte kali putli la dende. Like you might see on cars, they put little, that thing that you twist into the hair. I forgot what it's called now. Dori nahi hundi. They put it on the bottom of cars, ke nazar na lag jave. Or on the houses, they put it little puliya on the houses. Or little faces, black faces to that side, nazar karne, nazar na lag jave. And he goes, Maharaj Ji, he goes, they do that. He goes, Thada Khalsa bahut pyara ya. He goes, your Khalsa is so beautiful. He goes, it's so amazing, kinne sare sundar lagde, sang seva karda, koi shastra dhar ke aaya, damalle sajaye ne, Beer Rasi sare bani padde ne prem naal. Maharaj, he goes, main sochda ke Khalsa ne nazar na lag jave. All these Hindu hill chiefs, they're scared of you, Maharaj, and they're envious of you. And una di nazar na lag jave than mere Khalsa nu. How much pyar he had for the Khalsa at the time. And Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj, he goes, Ehi sada Khalsa da rakhaya. This is the protector of our Sangat. This man here, on his own. Maharaj did a lot of kirpa on him, blessed him, kirpa. So, bahut khushi nal put his head on his hand and he said, Khush reh. Bhai Sutra Ji did loads of things like that in Sangat. He did loads of things, like little things like, he'd sit in the Sangat and he'd keep looking towards the back, towards his jutiyan and stuff. And Maharaj said, Ki kar rahe hain? Why you keep looking backwards for? And he'd do kya? He'd say, Maharaj, main sochda haan कि Jutti naal kinna prem, you know how much prem I've got with the jutti, you know, and how material that is. It doesn't mean anything to me, but I can't stop looking back at it. And that's how much prem I should have for you, right? He's so simple and so innocent with his thought. Bahut khushi on this. You could write a Granth by Bhai Sutra Ji on his own. But I wanted to add that because it shows that in Holla Mahalla there's all types of people used to get Bakshishan from Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj. That's the end of the presentation. I think what I wanted to take from this presentation, the last few lines of Bhai Nand Lal Ji. He has coloured the one who is discoloured. This world and the world after is dyed by his colour. As soon as they witness, they see Guruji dressed in a colourful way. Those Gursikhs who have seen Guruji in this blessed vision, in this darshan of Guruji, they have realized that their birth has been fruitful. I must sacrifice the dust of the Sadh Sangat, for this is the moment I, Goya, was thirsting to see. Because the words that Bhai Nand Lal Ji is using, how much prem he had with Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj. He would recite, Maharaj, in his writings, Bhai Nand Lal Ji's writings say, Ek din vajan wale vason prem surahi piti. So one day I drank this miraculous nectar from Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj's hands. I kept thinking, repenting about the past and what, you know, Ogana had done, and that I'd come to Guruji's sanctuary really late in my life. And there's that shabd, and Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj says, Aage samjh chalo Nand Lala, whatever's happened in the past has happened. Hun tu Guru da sekhya, amrit shakya hoya. You don't need to think about what's happened in the past. Work forward, look ahead. So this is Holla Mahalla from the eyes of Bhai Nand Lal Ji. How should we celebrate it today? The first thing is that we need to attend Guru Sahib and get his darshan. We need to be in the sanctuary of Guruji tomorrow and the day after, every day really. Because remember, every day is a season of Basant, springtime, when you're seeing Guruji. Not only be there, but do seva of Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj. Shastran di seva karo. And not only that, in our households, we need to think about how active we are physically. Do we spend time keeping ourselves focused physically? Do we have time to do that? That's what I'm taking from it personally. Do we have that knowledge of the Nihang Singhs and how they are physically, in physical condition? Do we have that prem? And not only that, the majority of our Guru Kars and the way they're being run at this moment, they are bereft, they are without Najwans. Najwan need to be there to be able to contribute. If we're not there, we can't bring any change. We can't bring that sama back from Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj time to now. If we play an active role in our communities, Maharaj does blessings on us, gives us blessings. And if we have that prem that Bhai Nand Lal Ji Goya had by seeing other Gursikhs, it's amazing. Whenever you see Vaisakhi, whenever you come across these days, Diwali or Vaisakhi in our Guru Kars are well known. That's when Sangat comes. Even the person that you slander the most out of the committee, that day he will say Fateh to you, and you probably will say Fateh back to him on that day. On a Nagar Kirtan, everyone forgets all their differences all of a sudden. Everyone works together because that's what these Gurupurvs are meant to do. They take away your anxieties about other people and make you focus on the greatness of your Guru. So take what you can from this. I hope you found it useful. Today, Akhand Path Sahibs are going on in India at Sri Anandpur Sahib, and tomorrow Bhog Paine ne, Itthe Guru Ghar vich paine hone ne. But if you can tomorrow, spend time with Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj in the way that Bhai Nand Lal Ji witnessed being next to Maharaj at that time. Pulna Chukani Maafi Bakshni Ji. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh.